friends. Welcome to the Ancient Health Podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Chris Motley, and we are going to talk about Epstein-Barr virus. Epstein-Barr virus is a class 4 herpes virus. Herpes as creating the sores, the blisters, the bumps around the mouth. And it's a virus that can lead to mono, sudden lymph swelling, nodules in your lymph nodes, chronic nasal, brain sinus infection. It can create soreness throughout the whole body, sore joints, sore muscles, general weakness, brain fog, and memory loss. Now, if you know you have Epstein-Barr virus, there's two types of Epstein-Barr virus infections. You can have an acute infection, and you could have numbers within certain types of antibodies that tell you that you have an acute phase. And then you can have the viruses that show you that you have IgG reactions, IgG, which means it's latent. And there are many different tests. I appreciate all of them. I love them all because one would tell you that Epstein-Barr virus is hitting you right now and it's acute, it's active. The IgG test, the latent or secondary, would say that you've had Epstein-Barr heavily in your body. And the doctors say, well, you can never get rid of it. So you'll be fine. Your body's accustomed to it. And the immune system has gotten so used to it that it's actually able to function. Now, here at the HL Podcast, one thing is I appreciate all aspects. Some doctors would say that you can never get rid of it, that it's there 100% all your life. Some say let it ride. Just build your immune system up, and you just have to get out of the fatigue by taking your vitamins and minerals. I've seen personally where people have had their numbers drop to 0 from the antibodies by doing different therapies. And I'm not saying it's just mine. I have seen where individuals have done different therapies with Chinese medicine, with my kinesiology and frequency medicine, and I've seen their numbers go down drastically. Now, I'm not saying I cure it. So please don't get the information out there and say, hey, Dr. Motley's saying he's curing it. Not at all. What I am saying is I've seen some numbers go down pretty drastically, but I know that there may be some doctors and other practitioners out there that say that's not possible. Remember, there's no argument. I just want everybody to give good information to me, and maybe we can share it with the world. I'm open to all types of paradigms when it comes to treating people with very hard, heavy diseases and infections. So I just want you to know that. When we talk about Epstein-Barr virus, since it's a class 4, it usually accompanies other types of herpes viruses. We get them when we're young. We drink after other kids when we're kids. When you're in the daycare, some other kid could have put their hand in your mouth. You swap spit. You could be kissing somebody with Epstein-Barr virus when you're in teenage years. But there's other viruses. Cytomegalovirus, CMV. Human herpes virus 6, 7, and 8. Roseola virus. Forms of hand, foot, and mouth. Known as fifth disease. Now, the viruses that you encounter in your life, they can grow in certain types of cells. So when we talk about Epstein-Barr virus will grow in B cells, B lymphocyte cells. It'll grow in certain T cells. Your immune cells, literally hijack your immune cells where your immune system goes down and cannot function properly, so you can get sick with other co-infections, i.e. Lyme disease. Also, they infect endothelial cells, which are the cells that line your blood vessels, and also your lymphatic cells. So they can make their way into your lymph system, into your blood cells, into your capillaries and arteries, and they will hijack your energy. So we want to talk about the mechanism of the hijacking. We want to talk about why you feel so tired, why you feel so swollen. We want to talk about the herbs that I've seen work really well, such as olive leaf Supreme by Supreme Nutrition Product. Also, I really love Astragalus Supreme, and elderberry. Supreme has a really delicious elderberry. And they put it together so well. It's very strong. It's very effective. It's very potent. And your kids will love it. Now, I've seen where all three of those together combined have done wonders by helping the body raise the immune strength, because that's what astragalus does, heal the immune cells, help strengthen the immune cells with the vibration and the frequency and the charge of the herbs to help raise the energy and the chi of the immune cells. Also, olive leaf is there because it can stop the viral replication process with the natural plant portions, the phyto type constituents that actually cause the plant to be able to help your body not allow a virus to replicate. Elderberry does that. It increases your immune cells, but elderberry will go and kill the virus. It'll tear it apart. So you have a really cool combination. Astragalus, you have elderberry, and olive leaf. And all those combined can really help with any type of viral replication process. Now, I'm not saying it cures it. What I am saying is that it helps the body by raising the immune system so your own body will go after it and start to clean it up. Your body can be too tired on its own to actually do any type of work. And that is a hard thing when you're up and you're chronically tired. You guys ever get that way? People out there driving or listening to right now and you're saying, when I get up in the morning, it is so hard for me just to get up and to handle my day. I've had patients tell me that they actually feel like crying when they get up because their cortisol is so low in the morning. Their adrenals are so shot and they're so tired. And so tired that they cannot handle their day. And they may know or may not know that they have Epstein-Barr virus. So this is not to cause alarm or fear. Remember, this podcast is to bring awareness, to bring strength to us. But if you get up in the morning and you do not have any energy, please check for Epstein-Barr virus. If you know you have it, let's talk about the history of it or the way it hijacks your cells. So when we know that Epstein-Barr virus will actually attach to your immune cells, your blood vessels, also to your lymph nodes, that would give you the symptomatology that you may be experiencing. So if you had an issue with a lymphatic drainage, lymphedema, lymph swelling, mono, the cells of your lymph nodes are attacked. If you have problems with anemia, your red blood cells being torn apart, you have a problem with the Epstein-Barr virus going into the blood cells, blood vessels, and ripping them open. If you have had issues where you have chronic sores, chronic blisters around the mouth, around the nose, around the sinuses, that is another indication that the virus is thriving in that area. There's a beautiful book by Dr. Kasia. I read it often, called The Epstein-Barr Virus Solution. And she was on Danny Williamson, who's a great friend of mine, on her Facebook group. And Dr. Kasia talks about the mechanisms. She says Epstein-Barr viruses basically go through the nasal area, nasopharyngeal, the mouth, oropharyngeal, the laryngeal area of the throat, and also through the endothelial cells. She says the interior lining of the cells of blood cells and lymphatic cells. And so you can basically show that lymphatic cells are those cells that are found within basically the thymus, the spleen, and the lymph nodes. That's why you get swollen lymph nodes. That's why you have the mono. So their mechanism, let's say you were younger, you don't know where you got Epstein-Barr virus from, but you got sick when you were a kid. That means somebody could have shared saliva through drinking, possibly, through kissing when you're younger or older or whenever. You could have had sputum, spit, nasal discharge. Somehow those cells will secrete the shedding of the virus. So the virus, it's a really good explanation in this book. So I say, if you really have Epstein-Barr virus, please read this book. I'm not trying to act like an expert in this. I'm going to try to get her on my podcast. Remember, Kasia The Epstein-Barr Virus Solution. So this book, though, when we talk about the viral replication, you can imagine an Epstein-Barr virus. It has these small tentacles, like all viruses, and they attach to your cell. And has a really good diagram. And I don't want to overdo it. It's on page 28. It's really great. And she talks about how the virion, the virus, gets into the cell, makes its way into the cells, and those little spikes, those little tentacles that stick out, actually can get through your cell membrane. Eventually, those little like arms that are sticking on the coating, on your coating, you have these little arms that are sticking out, and they make their way into your cell, and then they will work their way in and put their genetic material into your cells, into your nucleus. And then your body will take their DNA material and incorporate into yours, and your body will translate them or copy them, their DNA. Then they will take that, copy it, and your body will start making their proteins, their coating. Literally, your cells will start making their protein coat on your cells. So the little tentacles, little spikes on their coating now is being made on your cell surface. Now, there's genetic material. They put their genetic material in there. So they go into your cell, whether it's the lymphocytes, the B cells, the T cells, the oral cells, the nasal cells, your blood vessels, any one of those. Your cells have these little spike or tentacles. And then the genetic material, right when you start to get fatigued and tired, they know they have an innate quorum intelligence, and that genetic material will then push up into the area of the surface of your cells that have those little spikes or tentacles and put their genetic material right into that area of the wall. And basically, it'll tear off a piece of your coating, make their own complete cell with all those little tentacles sticking out. It basically has used your cell to create parts of theirs and make an exact mirror image of the initial virion, virus that infected you. Made a perfect match. How many can they make? They say one of your cells can make up to 1 million of Epstein-Barr virus cells. They will continue to use your cell's energy with your ATP and mitochondrial production, for all of you guys out there listening who are nerds, me, and you will make plenty of Epstein-Barr virus cells. So they'll push out, right? It gets enveloped into your coating, and they push out into your bloodstream, and they go and find another cell to infect. And they do it very rapidly. It's a double-stranded DNA virus, and what you'll find is, that's what the reports say, and there may be differences now because there's so many mutations. But can you imagine when you're younger, and let's say you drank a lot after a person who had canker sores or cold sores in their mouth. Maybe you had a good kissing session with somebody that had blisters randomly. Oh, I get stressed, but I get this cold sore. The mouth, they say, is a perfect breeding ground because there's an attraction of the virus into those types of cells. You see what I'm saying? They like those types of cells. They like the lymph nodes. So somebody's coughing around you all the time. You share a lot of, maybe drink after some people. Not trying to cause fear. I'm just saying this is how they say it happens. Those viruses love the oral area to replicate. That's why you get stressed. And when you get stressed, they come out to the surface and you start seeing blisters around the mouth. They're making their way out. They're pushing their way out. They're trying to pop open so they can spread and go to another cell. When this occurs, remember, the mouth, the oral area, your lymph, and your blood vessels will decrease in energy. Literally, your body is using your own mitochondrial energy, ATP, your factories, to create tons of their body's genetic material, trying to replicate them. So they're using all your energy up. So that's why you wake up in the morning after you've been infected when you're a kid and you feel like, man, I just feel sick. I've got blisters. I've got a headache. I got fever. My joints feel bad. Why? Because they made their way into your lymph nodes throughout your muscles. They made their way into your blood vessels that are in the areas of your joints, in your muscles. And if they spread fast, they can cause all these symptoms. If they make their way into your blood cells, how fast can they get into your brain? Pretty easily. So when they use all your energy up, decreasing your energy, your ATP production, The story goes that then your body can be susceptible to other infections because now you're at such a low ATP production that Lyme disease can come in, parasites can come in, mold can come in, fungus. Some individuals say that mold and fungus are the initial, possibly could. But overall, what we're saying is Epstein-Barr virus, if you are having chronic fatigue syndrome, severe brain fog, blisters on the mouth, around the oral area, in the nose, like little scabs in your nose, and if you have anemia, if you have that combination, I want you to get yourself a lab panel to check for Epstein-Barr virus or any other herpes virus. So severe brain fog, severe fatigue, blisters or canker sores or any type of skin eruption around the mouth or nasal area, scabs in the nose, severe muscle fatigue, and any type of lymph swelling. Those are some of my biggest indicators that there could be Epstein-Barr virus in there. So we see this coming up. You probably are out there listening going, okay, all right, well, I do have it. I know I have it. And now I understand the mechanisms. Number 2, you do not live in fear. You can help your body clean out of these things and get your body to a nice, normal, nominal rate or level to where you can actually start to function. The goal is to get your cells to create enough energy so you can function properly. So we see the mechanism. And what Dr. Kasia tells us is that there are so many different ways that the cells in your body try to react to the Epstein-Barr virus. But for you, practically, what does it mean? We want to make sure that we energize the internal portion of the cells. So if you have Epstein-Barr virus, one of the most practical ways that I've seen people individually get help healing their cells is by using cold laser therapy. Now, red light therapy will help as well. Cold laser therapy with specific red light frequencies, specific numbers, have been shown through research, and here in the office, I use a cold laser here, that you can actually create a heavier negative electron charge around the cell wall. And what that means is that you can actually help increase extra energy into the cells. Now, what some individuals could say is that, well, doc, if I increase the energy of the cells, does that mean that the virus is just going to take that energy and replicate even faster? There is that argument. I've seen personally that what has happened is that the thick material within the insides of the cells gets so negatively charged that you increase such high energy within your immune cells that the healthy immune cells that you still have, if you use red light therapy, it will strengthen those and they'll go after the viral indicators, because this is what they say in some research, that the cells can be very infected, whether it's through the Epstein-Barr virus or any other infection, but the internal portions of your cells is like a gelatinous. It's not like a water is just like liquid water. It's very thick water, they say. It's a different type of water. And when you increase the negative charge on the outside of the cell, you're also doing it to the inside of the cell. So primarily the red light is actually creating a thickening of the internal portions of the cell. And it actually acts like a filter. It starts pushing out infections, literally to the surface. The body starts to use those red light therapies to actually push the toxicities out and the infections so that they can be recognized by the immune system to be killed off. So it's a filtering agent. So the body allows the red light to come in, the cells pick up the energy, get the extra energy going. Okay, the immune system can actually turn on in certain sick cells, and then the healthy cells can actually start to function properly as well. So you have this double effect. That's why red light's so effective. It increases the negative ionic charge within your cells, and the insides become like a filter. It pushes out those toxins to the surface, and then your body says, oh, what is that stuff coming to the surface? Healthy cells go get it. The reason it can't push the excessive viral components and DNA and stuff to the surface is because they're hijacking you all day. So if you put red light therapy into it, you're giving extra energy to push that stuff out so the cells get cleaned up. I hope that makes sense. Just look at it and envision in your mind. So if we can get more red light therapy, could there be a possibility that some cells have a little extra energy and can speed up some of the viral replication? I could see that reasoning, but from what I have seen is that it's had the effect of cleaning out the cells. So with this, I would say please find a practitioner or research the red light therapy and how it helps with chronic fatigue syndrome, helps with, not saying treat, but helps with handling infections such as Epstein-Barr virus, as in how does it help your cells? How does it strengthen your cells? Red light therapy is amazing. So if you get anything from this, it is find out who practices maybe some red light cold laser therapy, maybe K laser. I love Avant lasers. I use an Avant, A-V-A-N-T, avantwellness.com. Dr. Richard Amy, you got to check out his work. Dr. Richard Amy, he does amazing work with the laser. But I use it on certain areas of the brain to help strengthen the cells. And you will start to see the symptomatology of the viruses start to reduce because you're allowing the natural killer cells, the natural immune cells to get strengthened and healed up. Does it work for everybody? I can't say it does, but I'll say on the majority of you guys listening out there that have Epstein-Barr virus, please look into red light. Look at mitoredlight.com. It's a really cool red light that helps strengthen your mitochondria. Look at my good friends, Dr. Belkowski. Now, Mike Belkowski, he does BioLight Shop. Remember that. Write that down. BioLight.shop. And he's on Instagram, and he will explain everything about red light therapy and about how it increases vasculature, it helps heal the cells. But there is such good research in these two companies that tell you how it can help your cells heal. And I'm harping on this because people have asked me, what can I do for my cells at this stage? Literally, if you're taking a shower, somehow set up the light to where it's like shining on your body in the morning. If you could do 15 to 20 minutes a day on the most affected area, on your head or on your chest or on your lungs, on your heart, remember, you start slow. Start with 1 to 2 minutes a day. Do that for a week. If you feel okay, go up to 5 minutes the next week. Feel okay, add in 5-minute increments till you get to about 30 minutes. You do not want to do it too quickly because you'll clean out and push out too much toxins at one time. I like to go up to 30 minutes in the day. That's my goal. You will also kill other infections, Lyme disease, parasites, yeast, mold, and fungus. So if you start to feel bad doing a red light, please don't get discouraged. Back off, realizing you're helping heal your cells. And when that occurs, that's when I say patients look into using herbals alongside with vibrational plate therapy. There is a podcast I just did on vibration plates to help move the lymph nodes. So you have the red light, vibration plates, also lymph node cleansing with electric lymph therapy. I want you to say that's very important. When the Epstein-Barr virus gets into your cells, especially your lymph nodes, it will attack your B lymphocytes and T lymphocytes so effectively that it will actually cause stagnation within the lymph node. And the lymph nodes do not move well. They get so tired and weak they can't even move things along in the lymph tubes. And there are some infections that are so smart that they can actually get those B lymphocytes to crowd around them and hold them in the lymph nodes while they survive, like Lyme disease. There's crazy amounts of research that says lymph nodes are the best friends of your life, but the infections out there are learning how to trick them. So if you have stagnant lymph, look for a practitioner that does electric lymph therapy as well. They take a electrically charged static wand and they run it down through the lymph nodes. And what they do is they use the static charge to actually quicken and energize the tissue of the lymph node, literally. And they can tell through the device if the lymph node is stagnant. They'll also take a thermogram, and they will take the thermogram and show you where you're white, hot, and red and inflamed in your lymph nodes. It's amazing. And one of my good friends, She has a really great Instagram feed, and I just want to make sure that I have it right because I want to tell you the right name. It's at the Wellness Coordinator. It's my good friend Danielle Benham. Danielle Benham is the Wellness Coordinator, and she does amazing information with Chinese medicine, with thermography, and she shows you how the lymph nodes are congested in certain areas. They're congested in certain areas. They're congested around the neck. And if your lymph nodes are so tired and sick that they can't flow juices out of your neck, out of your shoulders, you're going to always have chronic fatigue in that area, chronic congestion. You're always going to have sickness up in the head, the nose, the mouth, the throat, the tongue, the eyes, the ears. If it's white hot, because I have worked tirelessly sometimes on individuals using my Chinese medicine, doing kinesiology, and it is so stagnant on the lymph nodes around the throat and underneath the collarbones that it won't move. And I'll just say that I send patients that have Epstein-Barr virus. I'll say, okay, we need to do some low-level red light therapy. I want you to go and use electric lymph therapy. Find a person in your area that does thermography, that can scan the lymph nodes. Find if they have an ELT practitioner to start using those practices to pull the lymph through. Do it gently. Ask them, I don't want a detox. I do not want the herpes. Do it gently. Get it flowing. Using a rebounder too, under their guidance, or just start to study about rebounding. We start to rebound, red light, electric lymph therapy. That's where you get the drainage ports open. Now, I'm going to do another portion probably for this podcast because I think I'm going to hit on some other things about viral replications, and maybe there'll be a part 2. But this is a lot of info. So I know when you guys can get a little tired, you're like, this is too much. But the one thing that I want to tell you guys about with the viral components is when you start using the red light and the electric lymph therapy, you may have some detox. So if you get to the point of heavy detox, you want to reduce it to where you can get up in the morning and function. You're like, doc, I can't even function now. I can't even get up. Get to where you have some form of energy from doing these things and using the herbs I'm about to talk about, and I just mentioned, but that even if you're feeling tired and sluggish and that cup of coffee is just delicious, you're like, I can make it. I can do the day decently, but I'm just trying to sludge through it. When you can get to that point, like I can make it, you just don't want to get up in the morning saying my sleep is horrible, my bowel movements are horrible, and my energy in the afternoon is just tanked. I can't do anything. If you are detoxing too quickly, that will happen. Poop gets messed up, sleep gets messed up, balanced energy throughout the day. You do a dosage that allows you to be able to keep using the restroom, helps you with your sleep pattern to stay the same, not too disturbed, and your energy can stay nominally energized throughout the end of the day. So that's the goal, guys. The next thing is when you start looking into elderberry, if you guys are watching this, elderberry supreme by Supreme Nutrition, olive leaf supreme, astragalus supreme, you don't have to take all 3 of them. My good friend, Dr. Alan Lindsley, he's one of my friends. I'm trying to get him to make more of my tincture he made for me and for some of his clients, but he put it all into a tincture, and he's with Regenx, Regenx, Regenx Naturals out of Wisconsin, Regenx, and he has a beautiful cream that works for joint cream. You need to check him out. Dr. Allen, Allan, Lindsley, Lindsley, and check out his work. He doesn't sell this tincture, but I'm saying it has some of the components that I just mentioned. And so I like the components. You could actually, create a little cocktail if you just got some tinctures and put them together in a small glass and put it with your favorite non-sugary juice or water and use that daily. Maybe a little dropper of each one a day. You start using those components that I mentioned about the olive leaf, the astragalus, the elderberry. You start doing those other components and doing it gently. People say, what do you mean gently? Like if you're doing capsule, just do 1 olive leaf capsule, 1 astragalus capsule, maybe 1 dropper full of elderberry a day. That's it. Let it accumulate in your blood. Do that for a month. See if you start to notice that those little cold sores don't come back when you're stressed. See if those little canker sores around your nose don't come back. Your ears start to unclog. Your throat starts to clear. You start to feel like, at first, like, man, dog, I'm hearing it. I'm feeling it. What if your lymph therapist says, hey, these things are clearing up? That's when you know they're starting to work. That's the initial phase. So this is part one. I want you guys to study this, think about this. And these are the herbs. I'm not saying they're the only thing, but we can talk a little more entailed about what are some of the other herbs or maybe some of the other things I've seen work well with Epstein-Barr, but this is not to cause alarm or fear or argument. If you have good research that talks about the real reasons of Epstein-Barr virus's existence, if you have all these other things, send them my way. I love hearing about this information. If you like this kind of info, please send it my way. I think the next one I want to talk about is the effects on your genetics and what are the components of your genes that could actually cause the Epstein-Barr virus to affect your mood, affect your whole body. If you like this kind of info, like and subscribe, guys. I really mean it. And if you can, hit the bell so that you're reminded every time a new podcast comes out. And we're going to have another part of this. Okay. So guys, don't worry about it. And if you're driving right now, or if you guys are in your day and you hear my voice, hopefully it is giving you some calmness and hopefully that you do not have fear. There is no fear in it. It is awareness bringing balance. Okay. Until next time, from all of us here at the Ancient Health Podcast, thank you so much for listening. Have a great day.